Alrighty, everyone, welcome to Advise and Shine. I'm so grateful for all of you who've continued to listen and to learn with me as we go about this process together. For me, I know that learning from others is one of the greatest things we can do in our lives. So for today, I brought in my good friend Layton. We've known each other since high school, and we're just going to learn more about him and his experiences with positivity and how he's overcome certain challenges. So thank you so much, Layton, for joining us. Any introductions you would like to give to the wonderful people who watch this channel?
Hi, people that watch Grayson's channel. I am so excited to be here and so excited to be a part of this community. Grayson is an amazing friend and an amazing person. And as a viewer of his videos as well, his how do I say, like his goal to make these videos and share positivity is something I think our world really does need right now. So hopefully this isn't your first video that you decided to watch, and you've seen his other ones because they really are great. But yeah, thanks Grayson for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, no problem. And, this is a great opportunity for both of us. I know we'll learn from each other. But the first thing I wanted to talk with you about today is your journey with mental illness. And I know there's something that's always been there, but it wasn't very definitive until you went on your mission. Do you mind explaining a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, so for those that don't know what a mission is, well, there's different types of missions, but I served a mission for my church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or as a common terminology throughout the rest of the world is Mormon or LDS. And I served in Mexico. I guess kind of just to bring up a little bit of the background of my family and mental health, there are certain people in my family that do struggle with certain mental healths, but for me, I really don't think I really had any sort of problem with mental health up until my mission.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess for some people, it just takes certain situations for it to come about. And for me, it was having a robber in my home on my mission. It happened probably, I want to say, probably like 3 o'clock, 4 in the morning. And I just woke up to this loud banging in the bathroom. Oh, loud banging. And I thought it was my companion in the bathroom because for those that don't know, when you're on a mission, you're not by yourself. You're with a person of the same gender, sometimes two. So my companion, he was sleeping on the bottom bunk of the bunk bed, and I was on the top. So I just heard this loud banging, and that was my first instinct of what is my companion doing in the bathroom? Like, why do you have to be slamming the door at 3 o'clock and 3:30 in the morning? I'm tired. I'm sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been actually kind of struggling with homesickness because when you're on your mission, but before I went on my mission, you were only able to call your family Christmas Day and Mother's Day, but you could email that. Like if you caught them on email, you could email back and forth. But that's the only communication I had with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really struggling with homesickness. So I think that was kind of a starting point of my mental health journey. But yeah, so I just heard my companion 3 o'clock in the morning, thinking it was him in the bathroom banging the seat. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like really? So I leaned over from the top up to the bottom bunk, and he was sound asleep. And I was like, okay, there's only 2 people that live in this house. There's loud
Mm-hmm.
banging going on. What the crap is going on? So I just kind of like opened up the bedroom door where we were, and I just I just kind of automatically just when I to eye contact with a man I didn't really know this man was in my in our study room where most of my belongings were, trying to stuff everything I owned in my carry-on suitcase so that way he could book it out of
Yeah.
the house. And me being I think anyone in this situation stood paralyzed with absolute terror and fear.
Yeah.
And the guy had actually been hired as one of my previous companions before he went home to be a garden hand. So he kind of knew who we were. But he just looked at me, and in Spanish, he said, disculpa me, which means excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. And I was thinking, excuse me, excuse you, you're the one in my house. I kind
Yeah.
of, this situation now, I kind of look back at it with some humor just to add in a little bit. But he booked it from the house, booked it from upstairs, and just ran out. And I just stood there kind of like, what's going on? So I woke up my companion, told him that we had just gotten robbed. Like literally, there's a guy in our house, and he got in contact with our mission president and his wife, and that all kind of happened. And that day in its own, really, I think is where I could say my mental health journey started, because it was a very traumatic experience. And I think anyone that's had an experience kind of sparking at their mental health or whatever will kind of agree that, like sometimes your journey with mental health will kind of start at the spur of a moment, and it will be like, okay. So about a couple of weeks, as the couple of weeks were going by throughout this experience, I was developing suicidal thoughts, and my mission president knew at this point. I think it was probably about a week after the incident that those thoughts really started to come in. And then about a week later is I attempted to take my life on my mission. And I stopped myself before anything could happen. I just kind of put a knife to my stomach, and then I stopped, and I was like, wait, what am I doing? No. And I stopped myself, but this ultimately led up to me getting sent home early for my mission, meaning, so for those that don't know how churches, missions go for my church, young men serve 2 years and young women serve 18 months. I've been out in the mission field for about 4 months. So I was going to be coming home 19 months early. So this is, I mean, as of 2021, it's very common now. I think I see more all the time for people to come home. 2017, when I came home, it was more common than before I went on my mission, but definitely was still more unusual at this time. And so I came home early, and that definitely also took a toll on my mental health, because I'd always thought that I would serve a 24-month mission and wouldn't come home 19 months early. So in overall, that's kind of how my experience mental health started. And I instantly, started seeking therapy for what was going on and was put on medication. So that is just kind of how my journey started with mental health. That was about 5 years ago.
And I mean, I witnessed kind of this journey firsthand once you got home a little bit. And one thing I was amazed with you is how you had the drive to get back into life. Like you said, you did go get help. You did these things to better yourself, but you didn't let that stop you from going to school, getting back to working. What do you feel was the driving force behind that?
Driving force behind that, I really think for me is I'm also a person that doesn't like my mindset. I think before I started experiencing problems with my mental health, I was always a person that really liked to kind of like goal set or just have something at the end of like, I want to get this done. Like for me back in high school was I want to graduate high school. I want to go on a mission. I want to go to college. So I think that kind of mindset for me, just kind of pushing through and, having a kind of a goal oriented mind on what I wanted to do helped a lot to make sure that it's just like, you need to get like, kind of like look forward to that, and like, just like all that stuff that I knew I wanted to do in life. And I wasn't going to let my depression or anxiety stop me from accomplishing what I wanted to do. There definitely were times I think especially in the beginning, where I wanted to, as we kind of say, like sit and stew, and just kind of wallow in my own self-pity. But definitely I was just like, no, I need to push through. I got so many things I want to do in my life, and I can't let, this kind of thing define me and define who I'm going to be.
Yeah. And for me, I've always seen, mental health runs in my family. I deal with mental health myself. Would you say it's a societal norm now of, oh, you have mental health, you're not well, so therefore we can't get help? Or do you feel that narrative needs to change?
I feel like it's still kind of in the middle. I feel like, you know, we are so much better than what we were back in olden times. I don't know, probably like the early like 15th century or whatever, people that would experience things like this, like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, OCD, any sort of like mental health issues would be locked away and, put in a cell and, would be kind of outcasted from society. We're so far from that I'm so thankful, because I don't think I could imagine myself in that sort of a situation. And we've gained more experience, and we have more professional people that are, going to school to figure this out. And I'm so thankful for that. But I do still think there is a stigma against mental health that lots of people are kind of just prejudged that, people with mental health aren't well, and then they can't adapt to society, and that they can't accomplish things. But I still definitely think that stigma's there, and I definitely experienced that on just all I really have to do sometimes is scroll through social media comments, to see people's comments about a certain thing. And I still think, we're there, but we're not quite there. And that we really do, as a society, need to be so much better at understanding mental health, and that literally mental health can affect anyone. Like the person that that could be the happiest person, and that, they're always cheerful and they're always, outside, but you don't know what's going on them in the inside. And for me, I think there was one comment, like when I was especially starting, when I was really going through it, like, why can't you just be happy? That to me is so so harmful to say to someone if they're seeming down, because you don't know what they're going through. So I guess just kind of like to sum up my long-ended answer, I definitely think we are better than what we were, but we still definitely have got a long way to go to understand and understand what mental health is, and how we can, as a society, better help people that are struggling.
Yeah, and it's been amazing. And I'd probably say over the last 5-10 years to see the different, whether it's counseling methods, medications, whatever it may be, the field has just opened wide. And there's just so much going on. How do you feel those who may not struggle with mental illness, how do you feel they can support someone who does struggle?
For me, and my experience, talking to someone has helped. Not just, okay, there's talking to professional, but just being willing to listen is definitely something that I think helps a lot. I mean, it depends on the person, but for me, having that support of people that love me, definitely has helped and continues to help me, because I mean, I'm far off better where I was 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago. But I mean, I still struggle with daily depressions and anxieties, and there are certain things that trigger it to this day. And I'm on medication right now for my anxiety. I've taken it every day since I've gotten home. Well, it took probably about a week to get on, but pretty much every day for 5 years. But yeah, just being willing to talk and listen is definitely something that I think those that don't know what mental health, just being willing to listen and have an open ears and open arms, and let people talk to you, even if you may not quite understand what they're going through. But just for me, just being able to talk about a certain situation or something that I'm really kind of anxious about to
Yeah.
somebody really helps. And it really kind of like, and then I can ask for their advice and what they would do in that situation that might be giving me anxiety. So definitely that for sure. And, just not judging, because there are people still to this day that think mental health is just an excuse to kind of like not do something, or, just don't judge and just listen, really, because there are just so many different things that people are going through, and there's so many different mental illnesses that I myself don't even know
Yeah.
all of them, and I couldn't pinpoint anyone. And as someone that's going through anxiety, and who's had experiences and continues to experience moments with depression and anxiety, I can't even pinpoint some people. Like, to me, if I were to have a conversation with someone and I might not be able to identify that in them, and they tell me, I'd be like, whoa, I had no idea you were going through that.
Yeah. And I think that's the hardest thing, is a lot of people just don't know. Like you said, people who are going through not just mental illness, but a lot of other stuff, they
Yeah,
tend to hide it. It's within our nature of, you either don't want to hurt yourself more by disappointing someone, and you
yeah,
don't want to hurt them. So that being said, it's okay to seek help. I love that you bring
yeah,
that up. It's one of the greatest things. There's already a video I did on my channel of it's okay to not be okay.
yeah,
But what's important there is that you get the help needed.
yeah,
Um, there's a leader of our church named Elder Jeffrey R. Holland, and he talks about how, if you're a God believing person, you'll ask a blessing from God for this illness, but yet you'll still go find a doctor.
yeah,
It's a two-way street. Yes, God is omnipotent and he's a wonderful, awesome being, but there's medicine on this earth for a reason.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely for those that might not, yeah, exactly. Because there are those of us out there, not myself, but others that might struggle or might not believe in God. There are other ways that you can seek help, and that could be medication. And for me, my faith has a lot to do with where I'm at today and how much better I am, but definitely the medication as well.
Mhm.
And the professional help, going to a therapist. Because they are professionally trained. They go to school to learn how to talk to people, how to help people in these different situations. And there are so many different kind of therapists you could go to get help. And I know that for lots of people, therapy is very expensive, um, and costly. But if you go to high school, you can go to your guidance counselor, or middle school, you can go to a guidance counselor and get help. If you are of faith, you can also, you can go to your bishop, as in what Grayson and I have, or your pastor or whatever, because, just going to someone that is willing to help you is definitely
Mhm.
a amazing tool out there for us to be able to just kind of get the help that we need.
Yeah. And for those of you in college, most colleges, they have a counseling center. And a lot of the times your first appointment's free. And then after that, they may be able to work something out for you, because it can be very expensive.
Yeah,
But, and the one thing I love about you and a lot of the people I know who suffer with mental illness is, yeah, you acknowledge those bad days, but you highlight the good. So what has helped you get to that mindset where you can highlight the power of positivity in your life?
I think I've done so much better with that than I have at the beginning. I still feel like I have a far way to go, but
Yeah.
I think for me, like I said before, my faith has definitely helped me. But just being around people who love me and care about me, I think definitely has helped my outlook on life and that positivity just grow better. Like, my friend like Grayson here and our other two friends, Riker and Brandon, are definitely a positive outlook in my life, as well as all my other friends and my family. Just just doing things that make me happy as well. I'm a I currently am not working on my podcast. I have a podcast, but I'm currently not working on it right now because I'm doing 18 credits to school and I'm super busy. But doing that brings me joy, and seeing the things that come from that brings me positivity. And just, I'm a huge MCU nerd. For those that don't know, that's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm a big nerd in that, and that brings me happiness. And that's kind of how I can see myself bring positivity. I'm a big Disney nerd. I love to read when I can, like just doing things that I love, I think, and just focusing on that, and just focusing on the good and not letting the bad always harrow in on me, and the anxieties definitely helps me with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, just to wrap up, I think you wrapped it up perfectly and beautifully of, it's okay to not be okay, because we're in a lifetime of a journey. Your lifetime isn't over a day. It's over,
Yeah.
70, 80, sometimes 90 plus years.
Yeah.
But for the average folk, you only make it to about 80, and that's okay. But you got to focus on the moment and realize you have a lifetime to find joy. And that's what this whole channel is about, is finding joy in life and learning to trust in who you are. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Give us any ideas you have, and we look forward to using them in the next video. And I'll see you guys next time.